See, alright, so, oh, this is World War 12. I need to say this because I was starting to see people trying to brag on Starfield like it's the best video game ever to come out and stuff, things like that. And I'm like, the Xbox doesn't really have anything really going for it. Halo is a disappointment. It's like, Halo, right? I said, it seems like it's almost doing good, but I said because of developers and how they are, it's more than likely that they'll put in patches and stuff like that that'll just make the game bad all over again, just when things are looking good or looking up. All right, enough of that, right? So, what I'm saying is, all this bragging about Starfield, you know what I'm saying? Because I need to say this about the problems with Starfield in general, right? Is because, like I said, it's just woke ESG stuff, right? I'll probably make a review because I would definitely just give. Matter of fact, this obviously will be my review because I said I give this game a 5 out of 10. I said, see, I would have gave this game a 3 out of 10, like Spider-Man 2. The only reason why Starfield gets away with a 5 out of 10 is because it's like open world and all that type of thing. I said, like multiplayer and stuff like that. I said that's the only reason why it gets a 5 out of 10. That's the only reason why it gets away with that. You know what I'm saying? But like I said, all this ESG woke stuff not really about real gaming, not really about real gamers. You know what I'm saying? Not about gaming in general. And it's just like just one of those games that's just fun. But my point is, what I need to talk about. People are always talking about how, because you know, because games like Starfield has big numbers. It's pulling big numbers. It means that it's a good game because of good numbers, right? Oh, numbers don't lie. And I said, here's the thing about numbers. Velma as a show, right? It has big numbers, but is it a good show? No. I said, why are people watching it? Because they hate watching it. I said, Starfield, right? It's just a game that's there that has open world. That's why people are buying it. That's really about all there is to it for that, right? But even then, it's still not a good game. It's not all that great to begin with. You know what I'm saying? But I'm gonna give other examples for big scores and stuff like that, right? One of my favorite games of all time is The Bouncer for the PS2. Now, obviously, The Bouncer is a bad game, right? But it's still, even though it's one of my favorite games, at least I can admit that it's a bad game. That's not a good game. And it's just like, for people that think trying to overhype Starfield, like, can you at least admit that Starfield is a bad game? Now, if you want to say that it's your favorite game, okay, cool. It's your favorite game or you like that game, that's all right. But it's like when you start trying to brag and then trying to say, oh, it's got all these big scores, I'm like, so you're telling, okay, here's an example. Let's say out of nowhere in 2023, right? Let's say if people decided, to give The Bouncer a good score. Let's say a bunch of people gave The Bouncer a good score, right? Let's say it got big scores. Does that make The Bouncer a good game? No. Not in this lifetime. It would not make it a good game. I will say that The Bouncer has a good chance of making a comeback with a reboot, doing the right, putting certain things in place, the right way, doing certain things, fixing certain problems with the game. Oh yes, that game can easily make a comeback, easy. You know what I'm saying? With the combat system. Now I'll probably talk about all that stuff in a different video, but for this video, right, I'm just saying, it's just like I said though. Like, just because something has, a big score doesn't mean it's actually good. Or let's say, for instance, that Marvel, that Marvel show, She-Hulk, right? I doubt it has a bunch of big scores, but let's just say it did have big scores. It's terrible. Like, it doesn't mean that She-Hulk is actually good for the live action series. I said because there's barely any action in it, for what She-Hulk is known for, you know what I'm saying? Female character that's, built and, buff and everything, and then she's doing stuff like the Hulk. I said it barely has that action and it barely has that interest in the show, you know what I'm saying? And then you got the male Hulk being, a soy boy, and it's just like, people don't want to watch that. I said the only reason why She-Hulk even probably pulled any views whatsoever is because Daredevil showed up. When Daredevil showed up, people were hyped. but they weren't really hyped for the show She-Hulk, right? But I'm just giving you a bunch of different examples of, talking about, oh, because of, numbers don't lie. I'm like, just because something has a big score doesn't mean that it's bad or a terrible product. You know what I'm saying? Or doesn't mean that it's not a terrible show, or doesn't mean that it's not a terrible video game. I have to tell like it's like all these people, and I know people want to try and sit there and be like, oh, you're a fanboy or you're a Sony pony. I'm like, not any of those. If you've seen my videos, you already know. It doesn't matter what game or console it is. I'm gonna play whatever I want to play. And like, not only that, I just want to make sure that I make it clear that I'm not neutral. I just do my own thing. It's kind of like, Miles Morales. Nah, I'm gonna do my own thing. It's basically like that, basically. Basically I'm just letting you know, how it is. You know what I'm saying? So, but that's the point though. It's like what I'm talking about. How there are other people like me. Lots of people like me who aren't fanboys. Like we like. But certain things, like when it comes to Starfield or Spider-Man 2, when it comes to real gamers and real gaming, we're gonna call this stuff out, man. It doesn't matter. Like, you know what I'm saying? When it just gets to a point where it's just like, come on now, like that, we're gonna call it out. We're gonna call it out for what it is. You know what I'm saying? But even then, like when we talk about video games like Starfield and stuff like that, and all these different review scores and stuff like that, like it is what it is. Sometimes it is what it shouldn't be. But that's all I got to say about that. And I have to say this because for people that want to say things like, oh, you're a fanboy and stuff like that, or calling other people Sony ponies and stuff like that, if I'm really a Sony pony, right? Tell me why I can name off 3 old school Xbox games that are that I find way more interesting than Starfield. People probably find those. People probably already have their own old school Xbox games that they find more interesting. So let me see here. 3 games right off the bat that I can think of right now: Soul Calibur 2, Tao Feng Fist of the Lotus. Trying to think of that. Yeah, Jade Empire. I said, oh, here's another one: Knights of the Old Republic 2. And a lot of these games I've already played on the Xbox. And I'm talking about the original Xbox. I said, if an original Xbox is putting a game like Starfield to shame, I should already say something. Like, you know what I'm saying? Especially if, so-called trying to call someone a Sony pony. You mean to tell me a Sony pony over here is talking about old school Xbox games, and you don't even talk about your old school Xbox games? You just bring up all these new woke ESG agenda games, and you don't really bring up these old school games for the Xbox, and that's your console. I'm just saying, but you're trying to call people a Sony pony, and you know what I'm saying. And they talk, and like people like me on on a PlayStation 5 or a PC, and we even talk about old school Xbox games. I know there's some people that still talk about them too who own an Xbox, but lately I've just seen people just brag about games like the new Halo, or just brag about Starfield. When we already know Starfield isn't really going anywhere, right? Obviously, just like other games. Like they got the new Gears of War. I mean, it's somewhat interesting, but it's just Gears of War. It's not like, what I'm saying. Xbox has over the years have just been mainly FPS games, and Xbox could do better than that. They always have been able to, but they just keep on focusing on the FPS games. There's so many other interesting games out there, concepts and ideas that they could use, and creativity. But Microsoft, they just choose not to use it. You know what I'm saying? They just let things, fall off. Just like with that game Scalebound, they just let it fall off, man. I'm just saying, you're calling people Sony pony, and like these people are people like me are bringing up games that you don't even bring up. I'm just saying. All I'm saying is, if you're saying Starfield is good, then you're also saying that the bouncer is good. Yeah, I'm just saying. I need to really say this about, for Xbox, Microsoft, people are bragging about how, because they have Starfield, and then it's also, overhype about all these other video games that are supposedly coming to the Xbox. So for instance, like you have Overwatch 2, right? because I guess Microsoft's gonna own Blizzard. And I'm like, okay, and because here's the thing, let's say even if Microsoft got Blizzard, right, and got Overwatch 2, like, is Overwatch 2 gonna actually have PvE mode? Is it gonna have matchmaking mode? See, these are the questions. Is it gonna actually, is Blizzard gonna actually put, the skill tree in there? What I'm saying is, even if Xbox gets that, it's gonna just be like, are we gonna still get all those things, or is it just gonna be another flop? You do get what I'm saying, right? Is it gonna be, overpriced $50 skins and paying $100 for skins and stuff like that? You know what I'm saying? Blizzard not stepping it up. You know what I'm talking about? And like I said, more, just the goofy stuff that these companies do, like Blizzard does, right? So that's what I'm also talking about. I said, is there gonna be a real change if Blizzard does get on the Xbox? And it's the same thing for other video games that people keep bragging about for the new Xbox. It's just like, all right, well, what else is what else is Xbox gonna get? Or whatever they get, are they gonna actually do anything with it? That's the question. And I just want to say this because this is also a reminder to Microsoft that I want to remind them that there's another game that they actually have that would actually get people to actually want to buy their new Xbox. You know what I'm saying? Special in particular game that I can't talk about, right? That I know about, but it's got to be hush hush. I can't talk about it. If Microsoft got serious with actually trying to make money and actually trying to truly change gaming, you know what I'm saying? Especially when it comes to the entertainment business, I'm surprised they haven't gotten on the ball on that. But this is just like what I'm talking about when it comes to flopping. It's just like, is Microsoft going to keep dropping the ball, or are they going to start making bangers or making hit after hit after hit? You know what I'm saying? Similar to how Capcom used to be, how Capcom can make hit after hit after hit. But obviously Capcom's not the same anymore. So this is what I just thought I'd talk about, right? And all this stuff about Starfield or all these other games that don't even need to be like at the GOTY or Game Awards, top game or whatever it is. I'm like, a lot of these games like Starfield is like, it's just a popularity contest at this point with some of these companies who's holding these rewards. I said it's not legit. It's just like it's just like what happened with Sonic. People literally, what I'm saying is, I understand like people saying, the reward stuff doesn't really matter anyway with all that trophy stuff or whatever, like the Game Awards doesn't matter, but it does matter as far as when it came to like the Genshin Impact versus Sonic, the fact that people had to cheat to make Sonic lose, that should already say something. But cheating in general, if you had to cheat to make another game look bad, that should already say more than enough about the Game Awards. You know what I'm saying? And that already says, like, this is why people can't take the Game Awards seriously. It's like I said, it's not legit. They just do popularity contests. They're not going by what's actually good, what people are actually interested in. You know what I'm saying? In general. But just like enough. But just in case people want to keep bringing up the fanboy stuff, I'm like, look, I own a PC, and I own 2 Xbox games on PC. Like, I can still play Xbox games. Now, if you're wondering why I haven't got a new Xbox, nothing like that. It's like, bro, until Microsoft gets serious and gives us a game like Scalebound, I'm not interested in trying to just buy the Xbox just like that. Now, as far as the backwards compatibility, yeah, sure. But for the most part, they don't have any games that makes me want to be like, oh, I got to go run down to the store and rush and go get this new console. No. You know what I'm saying? Starfield's not the game. Halo, it could have been that game, but they messed that up. If it would, I probably would. No, I'm like legit. I would have just ran down to the store to get that, the console for Halo. If I had Xbox, I probably would get the new Halo, right? But it's not that good to the point where it's like, oh, I gotta have it. You get what I'm saying? I said that's what I'm talking about. Like all this fanboy stuff, all this console war stuff. It's just like what's the point? Now the only thing about the console wars I'm interested in taking a look at that stuff as far as knowing, different conversations, stuff like that. But, this is more like 12, and I'm out. Peace.